Now let me tell you about a heist engulfed in irony. Our next story is about the British Museum. It's a grand institution, also a shining symbol of wide-ranging thefts. In fact, it is the world's biggest receiver of stolen property. But its motto seems to be, first you loot, then you lose. We say this because the world's greatest thief is now being looted. Let me explain how. From the 16th to the 20th century, the British went on a colonization spree. They ravaged nation after nation and stole their culture. They looted close to 8 million artifacts. The list included India's Kohinoor diamond, Nigeria's bronze plaques, and decapitated dried Maori heads. All of this is displayed at the British Museum. They've been urged to return what they stole. Of course they haven't, and they don't plan to. Instead, they ticket the world proudly to let them view the loot. They make money off it. The British Museum has locked up the legacy of other lands, and poorly so. Recently, a staff member was accused of stealing from it. The lost items included gold jewelry and gems dating from the 15th to the 19th century. Now, the suspected worker has been fired. An investigation is underway, but this is not a unique instance. In 2004, 15 pieces of Chinese jewelry were stolen from the museum. In 2002, a 2,500-year-old Greek marble head was taken. Also, this is not unique to the British Museum. Artifact thefts are very common, apparently. Last year, thieves stole 500 ancient gold coins from a German museum. In 2019, jewels worth $108 million were stolen from another German museum. Despite security, museums suffer robberies. Experts say this happens nearly every day across the world. According to the latest Art Loss Register, 700,000 antiques and collectibles are currently lost or stolen, 7 lakh pieces. But here's what's shocking. Such thefts happening in institutions as large as the British Museum, they hold monumental objects. They chronicle entire civilizations and help us understand them. Like the Rosetta Stone, it enabled researchers to understand ancient Egypt. It was part of the British loot. It now sits inside a glass case. Artifacts like these are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, so the museum cannot afford to be caught off guard because we know what comes next. Most of the stolen items are sold in the black market or even melted down. In 2005, it happened to a Henry Moore sculpture. It was worth about $4 million, but it was melted down and sold for less than $2,000. It's criminal. But that's not even the worst part. These museums hold the world's history hostage. They contain what is not theirs, and they fail to protect it. Countries like Greece, India, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Ghana say these artifacts are theirs. They should be returned, and they're right. But do you know the museum's response? They say these countries lack the infrastructure to protect such expensive historic items. By the looks of it, the British Museum is not doing a great job either. In fact, it reeks of entitlement. It has withheld stolen spoils and makes up excuses to keep them. But wait till you hear the second excuse. The museum refuses to agree that most of its keep is stolen. The argument is, stealing is not really stealing if you're taking something that's lying around. Finders keepers. Such interesting logic. Do they also eat other people's lunch left unguarded in the office fridge? Their defense holds no water. The crimes committed by British colonizers are undeniable. They stole from the whole world, and now a large part of that cultural heritage lies unprotected in their museum. It's unacceptable. For decades, England has gotten away with it and raked in tourism revenue. The museum's trustees are comfortable and in no mood to return what's not theirs. But what about their government? Experts say most disputed artifacts will have to be returned if the government really chooses to. The US, Germany, Belgium, France, they're all doing it. They're returning the loot. But England remains bullheaded. Britain cannot right historical wrongs, but it must stop profiting from them and not make excuses for theft.